America's got talent. Well, in the case of Donald Trump, America does not have talent. Yes, your country will continue to be flooded by H-1B visas, Indians from all over because, well, you suck. You don't know what you're doing. You're not talented. You're not gifted. You're not impressive. And the rest of the world is better. Now, that's probably the strongest way that I could rehash the clip that's been going viral of Donald Trump over the last 24 hours. We're going to get into the context, get into some of his meaning. But the way that I just said it still has at least some measure of truth to it. At best, Donald Trump may have actually been getting towards something that might be needed in some regard, but his messaging is way off base. He is at minimum deeply out of touch. And the biggest thing that we're going to prove in today's episode is that at the end of the day, it's not just that you and I perhaps changed over the last, whatever it is, 10 years, becoming more and more right-wing. No, it's not just that you changed. MAGA changed. Trump is not the same man. It's not just that you became more radical. No, Trump became more liberal. It is objective. And we are going to show you from 2016 right now to 2025, the year of our Lord, the objective, definitive change from Trump. He is pulling back. He is compromising, whether it's on abortion back in 2016 saying, yeah, the woman who gets an abortion, well, I don't know how else to think about it other than there must be some kind of penalty for her. She's committing murder. She's doing something wrong. To where his campaign in 2024, he was way off of that rhetoric. He was about as pro-abortion in his campaign in 2024 as any Democrat all the way up until, I don't know, maybe the last 8 years. And then with H-1Bs, we'll show you a clip from 2016 where he's like, no, it's not good for the American worker. Here's where we are. MAGA is dying. It is. I mean, I think that we're going to present to you a balanced, tempered, moderate view because I'm inclined to say MAGA is dead. It's not just dying. It's dead. But we'll go ahead and do our best. We'll steel man everything that we can. Do our best to provide the moderate position without the hyperbole. At minimum, MAGA is dying. And the single issue that is going to win not just the next presidential election, but arguably elections, whether it be midterms or the presidential for decades to come, will be this: America first. And America first means Americans first. Make Americans first again. That's going to be the slogan. It's not just America being great again. It's America being first again. And America means Americans. If America is first with GDP, if America is first to land on Mars, if America is first in the AI race, but we accomplish all this by ultimately replacing Americans, heritage, real Americans, with paper Americans who just showed up 15 minutes ago and call them just as American as anyone else, then the leaders of our country, they're not just neocons. They're not just Democrats. They should be tried and hung for treason. They are traitors to their citizens. They are traitors to their people. They are monsters of the most vile variety. And we need to speak in these terms. Today's episode, it's going to be quite a journey. We're going to show you a lot. We're going to talk about a lot, but we're also going to talk about solutions. Where do we go from here? Let's tune in now.
All right. Well, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
GA.
Let's take a trip down memory lane. I feel like I've been doing this a lot lately, but it's important to, when it comes to criticizing Trump, I think we would be happy to go on the record. I mean, especially for me and Joel. Like, we were on there for a good 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
What's the live stream today? Vote for Trump. What's the live stream today? Yeah. Vote for Trump.
Yeah, we're not scrubbing.
Nope.
We're not hiding. We're not deluded.
It was a year ago. We were here in this room.
1 year ago.
Election live stream. playing
1 year ago,
Trump hype videos.
We were shilling for Trump. And here's the thing. We actually weren't. We were getting, it's like the meme where there's you guys are getting paid? No. We weren't getting paid. For free, we were shilling for Trump. And we were doing it because we really did believe it.
Yeah.
And now on the one thing he's done is close the border.
Mm-hmm.
He's closed the border. And if we had Kamala, I think we would have had 40 million more. And I live in a border state. My family, I have 4 daughters and a wife living in a border state. And a Kamala presidency, it is quite possible by the time we got to 2028 that I would be, I'd be a single man. My wife would be dead. My children dead. Like, I mean, it really was, like, I'm not just being extreme. It really was that severe. So I don't regret it. I don't regret it. Yet at the same time, at this point, I'm never doing it again. And I don't mean never doing it again, just voting for Trump. What I mean is that, we can't just keep saying, well, this would be a little better than that. This would be a little better than that. The only thing we have to sway politicians is our vote. And if they know, if the GOP knows they can get our vote by simply being just a little bit better than a communist, then that's what we will forever get.
Because they have an R beside their name?
Right. That's what we'll forever get. Is someone just a little bit better than a communist. And honestly, if that's what it takes, I'm ready to just go out. I feel like it's sink or swim. If that's what it takes, is I'm going to withhold my vote because you actually have to serve me. You actually have to do better. And I know that if I withhold my vote, I'm going to get this other person who's going to bring 40 more million people and will never win an election again. So it's either the GDP or GOP has one shot in this election to get it together, or I will not give them my vote. The opponent wins and America is done. I think that's honest. I don't know another strategy at this point. I feel like that's what it is. So I have to have my plane ticket ready. Seriously, I got to be ready to move to Poland, move to whatever, Costa Rica, El Salvador, whatever it is, and withhold my vote because I can't keep sending the message. All you have to do is be an inch better than a communist.
We can drive off the cliff. But by golly, 25 miles an hour maximum. You can still do it, but we need to get there slower. That's all it is.
That's all it ever is.
So I say, hey, a year ago, we were in Trump's corner. We still want him to do good. We're still rooting for him. But a year ago, we supported him. And you go back to 2016, I can speak for myself. Guys, I was Trump's top guy. There was a point where my phone wallpaper was Trump. Fully supportive. I've been to the rallies. January 6th, I showed up to support him. I felt the election had been stolen. He deserved justice.
He was in Nancy Pelosi's office.
I was not in Nancy Pelosi's office the whole time. I have
pictures. Yeah,
I was nearly assaulted in Baltimore for wearing a MAGA hat. Like, I was Trump's guy. A lot of us. I think, Joel, you were a little bit later, but Antonio, you said it too.
I was a little
later.
later.
We love Speak Trump for yourself.
At one point.
I've always known Trump wasn't our guy.
I remember in October before the election, you were like, he's the great man.
He is. No, I thought that, yeah. I think, and we can get into this further, but I think a lot of what's happening is the GOP just frankly is not prepared for the demographic change that's happening to the base of the party in terms of the under 30 white man being incredibly far right. Like, you still got the GOP comprised predominantly of boomers and particularly in the influence of the party. And those are the people, like, one of the things that I loved about Trump, and I still think is actually a decent quality, is how collaborative he is, how he wants to hear what everyone has to say in the room. But the problem is when everyone in the room is a 2015 boomer GOP,
George Bush lookalike. Exactly.
It's like that's where Trump fails. So I think that's what we're kind of getting at is like we're seeing the fruits of that reality in this administration in a way that it was present. It was present in the first administration.
Sure.
But Trump just wasn't as established. He wasn't as like rooted in it as he is now.
Right.
He truly is in a lot of ways the swamp.
The donor story is huge. The big donors that came out that he is much more beholden to since they supported his campaign in 2024.
Yep.
Like, you guys, you have to recognize that is a big difference.
Yeah.
Trump was not supported by establishment. Trump was not as much supported by
None of them
the
would have
Republican Party
him.
apparatus.
Right.
He wasn't supported by those in 2016. And his message, all that to say, his message was actually good.
Yep.
His message, America First, that slogan, Nick Fuentes actually coined it.
Right.
He took it from a Trump speech. Trump saying it needs to be America first. Trump said things, you alluded to it in the cold open. Hey, women that procure abortions are murderers, and they should be charged and prosecuted as such. That's great rhetoric. I remember him saying, hey, you take manufacturing out of the United States, I'm going to slap you with tariffs for taking these manufacturing, these jobs out of here. Let's go ahead and play a clip. This is from the 2016 debate. This is him talking about the H-1B program. Super quick, 30, 40 seconds. Play it now.
Well, first of all, I think, and I know the H-1B very well, and it's something that I frankly use, and I shouldn't be allowed to use. We shouldn't have it. Very, very bad for workers. And second of all, I think it's very important to say, well, I'm a businessman, and I have to do what I have to do, and it's sitting there waiting for you, but it's very bad. It's very bad for business in terms of, it's very bad for our workers, and it's unfair for our workers, and we should end it.
Look at that. Where did that guy go? Remember
Different
him?
man.
I love that guy.
Notice
He's
the
gone.
crowd cheering.
Yep.
10 years ago. They loved it. This is awesome. We support ending this program.
You did not just become more radical. Donald Trump objectively changed. He moved to the left, and he did it for, I think, a few reasons. One, because in 2016, he was not beholden to a bunch of Jewish donors who have given him hundreds of millions of dollars combined. He had $100 million just from the Adelsons.
Sheesh.
Secondly, in 2016, the truth still would have been the truth, but there didn't seem to be any looming moment of Donald J. Trump's name being revealed in the Epstein files. Like, let's just be honest. When I think of this term, those are the two main differences that I think of. I think beholden to donors and Epstein files. I feel like the Epstein files is a big thing. And we could just gloss over it. I think a lot of us, including myself, we were, we didn't know what to think, but we're inclined to think, well, he's just being emotional. He's just mad because his bromance, with Trump ended the way that he didn't like and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, I'm going to side with Trump over Elon because Elon's a foreigner, he's South African. He's not America. Now I'm actually looking back and I'm thinking, remember when Elon tweeted out the reason why Trump blah, 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 blah is because he's in the Epstein files? I think bro cooked. I think there was something there.
When was the last time, you mentioned it earlier, Antonio, that Trump claimed he had relations, connection, saw Jeffrey Epstein? What was the last time he claimed that?
He said on record 2008 is what he said was the last time he had ever really, which was prior to, I think, Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction for what was going down on.
Would have been around or just before that time.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do we know now?
The emails that are coming out, so a whole trove of them from the
Jeffrey Epstein
committee, the House Committee on...
Oh, I'm not sure.
I believe. Anyway, a trove of Epstein emails released, and through the 2010s, most certainly the early parts, people are referencing Trump in relation to Epstein. I saw one email. Now, this is very quickly seeing it. I, of course, am not verifying. I'll bet my life on it. Yeah. It seems one email said, hey, are you home? I don't want to walk in on Trump in Epstein's house again. So Trump claimed 2007, 2008, last relations I had with the man. Well, here's emails from years later. Oh, and Trump was at his house. People asking about pictures of Trump with underage girls in bikinis. Those are just coming out. They're just being unrolled now. We don't know how true they are. We don't know the veracity of them. But it doesn't look good. Yeah. There are no emails out there of me. Hey, I don't want to walk into Epstein's house because I might see your guy Wes. Mm-hmm. Those don't exist. So at the very least, the evidence is not looking good. Not good. And the point is, I think we had a reason to believe Trump. You can only go off someone's word when they're a politician. Right. The next politician coming in will not have a track record of having been president of another country and successfully completed a program over there and telling us he can do it again. You do have to go off the word of a politician. And we trusted Trump, and he did some good things. We can't take that away from him.
Exactly. We trusted him because he was a blessing from God. And this just needs to be said. I feel like the best way I can say it, clearest, most concise, is that, the chimp praise. You get bad Trump one day, he's like, H-1Bs, millions of them, they're coming in because America's, doesn't have talent, and we need, the geniuses in India, to replace the dum-dums in America. Okay, well, that's a chimp day, where you rally and you're like, stop that, Trump, And then there's days where he does something good and you praise. We're past that. We are past that. What we need now is not praising and chimping. What we need now is no praise for Trump at all. We can praise God for old Trump. in what Trump has done, not what he's doing and not what he will do, but what he has done. So I have no praise for Trump. I have praise to the Lord for using providentially Trump as a Cyrus type figure. He was never our guy, but as a precursor, paving the way for someone who truly is America first. So I praise God, not Trump, for what God did through Trump before. It's not happening anymore. And then from here on out, we just have to realize, what do we do? So we chimp, so that Trump, changes his tune. He serves America. No, this is what you have to realize is the ship sailed.
Right.
It's too late. Trump had 1 year. 1 year. He didn't get it done. We will be slaughtered in the midterms. It will be it already is, and it will just be confirmed as a lame duck presidency for the rest of his term. Trump blew it.
And half of his
over.
cabinet in 2027 are going to leave to go and run for president.
Yes.
So Marco Rubio and J.D.
They're all
Vance,
going to run against each other.
they're not going to be in the White House come
Lord of the
2027.
Flies.
It's
Right.
basically 60% over.
So
we
it's
might
done.
get one more bill passed or two.
Correct. So my point is praise, not Trump. Praise God for what Trump did, the doors that he opened for someone else to walk through as someone who is truly America first. But what should we be doing now? Chimping and praising because maybe MAGA will come through. For what we should be doing now is pivoting and organizing and building as fast as possible because MAGA ain't it. Why? Because it's too extreme. No, because it's liberal. We need something far worse. After careful consideration, we've decided that MAGA is fake and gay, and we need something far worse.
Yeah. Let's go to the comments he made yesterday. I have never seen the narrative shift on the Trump administration like it has in the last 24 hours. Longtime supporters, plan trusters, all sorts of people came out and said, this is the last straw. This is not just us here. We kind of privately felt it. Fire up the live stream. We're going after him. Across the breadth of the Republican Party, the conservative movement, tons and tons of people saying, this is the final straw for me. Trump sat down for an interview with Megyn Kelly, and this immigration issue, America first, immigration downstream of that, it's probably the biggest single issue. If you can think of America first as the umbrella, immigration is honestly the biggest issue underneath it. And it's like, oh, well, you mean illegal immigration, right? No, immigration. Like CJ Angley says, I do not distinguish between legal and illegal immigration.
Yeah.
Both are often tools
It's like the
of
Ron
displacing
Swanson thing. It's like, bring me
a host
all the eggs and
population.
bacon that you have. He's like, wait. I'm concerned that what you heard me say is bring me a lot of eggs and bacon. But what I said was bring me all the eggs and bacon you have. So when it comes to immigration, it's like, we need to get rid of all immigration. It's like, wait, I'm concerned that you heard me say illegal immigration. But I said we need to stop all immigration.
And this is another L. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. It was just today. She said, have her quote right here. We're going to keep using our visa programs. This is the work visa program. But also more people are becoming naturalized under this admin than ever before. More people are becoming citizens. So it's like, well, 600,000 people have been deported this year. 1 million more have self-deported. 1.6 million illegal immigrants gone. Well, as best we can tell, more people are being naturalized than ever. 2 million people might have just come in legally anyway. And it's in the backdrop of all of this, immigration as the key problem. Trump under a lot of fire. Guys, he is more unpopular than ever. And that has not become because men under 30 are more liberal than ever. Trump is deeply unpopular. He's deeply unpopular with the people he should be popular with. Right. And Megyn Kelly presses him on the immigration issue as it relates to workers. Because the big issue under fire, yes, illegal immigration, but the biggest way that people are coming into this nation is through the H-1B visa program, which is skilled laborers. You have a highly skilled laborer, which is the O-1 program. This would be your Elon Musk. So we're not talking about, well, this is bringing in the Elon Musks and it's bringing in these guys and that. No, H-1B visa is a huge program that's ostensibly, supposedly, for skilled labor coming in to do jobs that Americans can't do. We forget that. The H-1B program is to fill slots in jobs that Americans are not equipped to do.
Correct.
Bilingual, for example. Hey, we need someone on our team familiar with American and Korean legal defense. They need to speak the language. They need to be familiar with this portion of law.
Let's be honest, like if it's language, if that's a great example.
Sure.
But if that actually is what it is at this point, the year of our Lord 2025, if it's language, then we don't need anybody who's not already here because we've already imported the entire world to our country.
Exactly.
They're like, well, we need somebody who's fluent in to be able to speak Vietnamese, or be able to speak Mandarin, they're all here.
Yeah,
They're already here.
And with the Christie Nome quote there specifically, if you think back, this actually isn't the first time. There's just one of many, many times that the Trump administration kind of accepts leftist framing. So whether it's about race, Trump says, no, I'm actually the president for the blacks. The blacks love me. Whether it's about gays, no, actually the gays love me. And then here it is on immigration. No, actually, if you're an immigrant, you're going to love Trump. You're going to love what we do for you. And so it's a pattern with this administration, both in the first term even, but also certainly in this second term, to just accept kind of the framing around immigration, around race, around sexuality, and then just slightly frame it so that, no, the truth is the Republicans actually are more liberal in this way than the left. So it's a pattern. It's just something that you pick up on time and time again. You see what they're actually trying to do, and you walk away thinking, that's not what I voted for. That's not what I want.
So as the interview goes on, it gets down to immigration, and she says, we have plenty of talented people here, getting at exactly what we're saying. There's 330 million people, 350 million people here in these United States. Bilingual Spanish, rocket engineer. We've got the people. We don't need to import more. Trump's words. We have plenty of talented people here. Trump. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and you have to import them. People have to learn. And he goes on this illustration of saying, imagine a foreign company. They're headquartered in a foreign nation. They've built their wealth there. And they say, you know what? We're going to come to America and we're going to build a $10 billion manufacturing plant there. And so some of the concern is, okay, you're building this plant. Who will get the jobs? Will Americans get the jobs? Will people from China get the jobs where you're headquartered? And he's saying, hey, when that plant comes up, there are going to be people that you need that have a skill set for technology, for missiles, for language that you don't have here. I'm doing my best to kind of steelman Trump's argument, to defend him. Mm-hmm. You don't have those people here. And so you're going to need to have, at some level, use work visas, skilled labor program, to bring those people in, to train people to do the job. The example he uses, you can't take people off of an unemployment line to build missiles. So if unemployment is rising, which it is, and by the way, for October, we're probably going to never know the job numbers because of the shutdown. Apparently CPI and job numbers for October will never be released. So we don't really know now. We're flying blind. It's going to be 2 months. We don't have any idea how the economy is doing on the jobs front. But practically speaking, if a lot of people are unemployed, you can't actually just take them off the street and use them to manufacture chips, use them to manufacture missiles. And that was Trump's point. And we'll go on record to say that actually is a reasonable point. There are, of course, some unique skills you're going to have to bring people from overseas in to do. There's going to be skills that they have, abilities they have, things that they know. You're going to need them at a small scale. But this is what's so frustrating. This is why we're coming out and saying enough is enough. Here's how you actually lead that conversation. Hey, President Trump, the American citizens who voted you into office are deeply concerned that these programs are replacing the American worker. They're taking jobs, they're taking money, they're taking spots that could be used, they're consuming housing. It's eroding the core population of these United States. Here's what you say as a president. If you're in touch, if you understand the issues, you know what? I totally get that. Let me give you my personal guarantee, an investment here, manufacturing growing here. These are jobs that will primarily go to Americans. I share your concern. We are not going to be importing thousands and thousands of people to do jobs that Americans can do, Americans want to do, Americans should be paid for.
And that may be true, but the reason why he didn't answer it that way, you can tell, is because he was personally offended in the interview. Mm-hmm. And he was being stubborn and proud. Now that is your 2016 Trump. That element has always been Trump.
That's true.
That has not changed at all. Trump has always been a arrogant, prideful man.
He has.
He reaches these conclusions behind the scenes, but he'll never.
Once
he's
won't
public,
come back and admit it.
He'll never admit it.
He will double down.
Yep.
And that's the beauty. When he's right, he'll never let go.
It's what we loved about him.
But when he's wrong, he will never let go. It's rough. It's really rough. I will say though, in that regard, being like never coming back, never admitting, maybe behind the scenes you back off, but you can never publicly set the record straight. In that regard, Trump is like every single pastor in America. And if there's two groups of people that do not publicly apologize, even when they make a public mistake, It's America's politicians and America's pastors. They're both arrogant. All right. Let's go to our first commercial break.
Let's do it.
And
I
then
was just
we
gonna
will
say,
come up.
That's the context, and
Yeah.
people are done with it. The 50-year
We're done.
mortgage, for the record, how did that come about? Well, Bill Pulte pitched that to Trump. This is the story that we're hearing. And he showed Trump an image of Franklin Roosevelt, who pioneered the 30-year mortgage, next to Trump, and he put the 50-year mortgage.
Yeah.
Trump loved it. In fact, he loved it so much, 10 minutes later, he posted it to True
Tweeted it
Social.
out. Dude,
Because he's proud.
exactly. Isn't that crazy? Like, he liked it being, he just liked the optics.
It said great presidents up top.
Great
He
president.
loved it.
That's what he loved. Which even that is insane. I like my son is named Franklin. Every single time new people come to the church, you know, and he's standing beside me, they're like, "Oh, is that your son? Yeah, what's his name? Franklin." I literally always assure people that it's not named after Franklin. He's not named after Franklin Roosevelt. So like I'm over here, I'm like Franklin
You're
Roosevelt.
like, he's
I'm
named after Francisco Franco.
Yeah, I'm like I'm like Franklin, no relation to Franklin Roosevelt whatsoever. Trump sees that and he's like, "Great president, Franklin Roosevelt and me." I'm
the
like,
30 was good. A 50 could be better.
a 50 could be even better. That said, though, if we get a portable mortgage, that's actually
So
we could talk about. Let's
just
talk
for
about it real quick.
context,
Yeah,
to save face.
That one
the
looks good.
administration is, by the way, furious about the backlash. We did a video of it on Monday. It's a terrible idea. It's debt slavery. It's you'll own nothing and be happy. Tons of people hate it.
all it does is empower usury. The United States
Yep.
of usury, we're already steeped in usury, which is a sin, but it is a policy to accomplish more usury. You'll save $250 a month on your mortgage. The centralized banks, and I'll give you a guess who's behind them. Go ahead and do a little history, early life check. They will make hundreds of thousands of dollars more in interest. You save $200 a month. They make hundreds of thousands of dollars more, and that's just off of your loan. And then that's combined with everybody who's doing everybody's. So no, we are not going to support more usury. Go ahead.
No. So the administration, go figure, furious at the backlash.
They
Like
couldn't believe
conservatives
it.
didn't want it. They're like, we gave you a 50-year mortgage. You didn't want it.
And you weren't grateful? You
I
say
can't believe
thank
this.
you.
Yeah, you say thank you.
Have you said thank you? JD Vance came out, 50-year mortgage. We promised 50 million deportations. We gave you a 50 years of debt slavery and usury. Have you said thank you?
Have you said thankful yet? So to save face, they've floated the idea of a portable mortgage. So say you have a $300,000 to $1,000 home, you have a $300,000 mortgage, and you go and you purchase another home. Well, that $300,000 home, you pay it off. That pays off the mortgage, but you keep the same terms, the same interest rate, the same payments as the new home you purchased. That is a great idea.
That's a good
I
idea.
can't believe we didn't think of that on Monday,
Yeah.
but it's a great idea. So we will recognize and say that is actually a great idea to help increase home ownership, keep people lateral as people move. They then have homes
And that's
to
why you
sell
chimp.
because they can buy more.
That's why you chimp. That said, there is no amount of chimping in the world that can save MAGA at this point. So maybe we can get a portable mortgage out of it before the ship goes down. And that'd be great. All right. So the chimping, there's still some purpose in that. But the biggest thing that we need to be doing is repositioning, building, and preparing because something is going to have to follow MAGA. It is dying now. And I think it will be fully dead come 2028. I'll be honest. If it's JD, I think he gets slaughtered.
At this point,
I think he gets crushed. I actually do. All right, let's go to our first commercial break, and we will be right back. Hey, friends. Gray Toad Tallow is a family business making skin care the way that it should be. Simple and clean. The company began as a personal mission to find healthier, more affordable solutions to common skin problems without the chemicals that are found in most products today. Now, that search led to crafting balms from grass-fed, grass-finished animals that were naturally rich in vitamins and healthy fats, which is exactly what your skin craves. These balms fight dryness, they calm eczema, and psoriasis, along with other stubborn skin issues, without containing all the nasty toxins. Gray Toad Tallow offers everyday soaps, balms, and beard balm for men. To experience some of their products, grab a balm sample pack. Each batch is made with care in their home and shipped directly to their customers. For skincare, the way that God designed, natural, clean, and effective, visit graytoadtallow.com. Use code RIGHT15 for 15% off your order today. Again, that's greytoadtallow.com. And if you want 15% off, then add the promo code RIGHT15 today. When we think about what powers our modern world, fighter jets, clean energy, even the phone that's in your hand, we rarely stop to ask the question, what powers our power? See, it all comes down to a handful of critical minerals, and most of these minerals come from overseas. Now that is a problem. Saga Metals is working to fix this problem. Their mission? Build a secure, independent future for North America by developing domestic sources of titanium, lithium, and uranium, the materials that our economy and defense depend on. Their flagship project in Labrador, Canada spans 160 square kilometers with a 15,000 meter drill program underway, driving a potentially world-class titanium resource. Saga has also partnered with global mining leader Rio Tinto, which can invest up to $44 million in Saga's lithium project, a major vote of confidence. Now, Saga Metals trades publicly under SAGMF in the US and SAGA, that's Saga, in Canada. With the race to secure supply chains heating up, a company with assets like these won't stay under the radar for very long. So learn more at sagametals.com. Again, that's sagametals.com.
America is a country that was founded for the purpose of allowing Christians to do their duty before God and not to have their consciences ruled by the doctrines and commandments of men. Reece Fund exists in order to see the 10 Commandments properly applied, not just as a plaque on the wall, but to actually be used in business as though they're commandments from God that we're supposed to obey. Our goal is to find businesses and to buy them and to build them up. We want to find manufacturing businesses and use them to make sure that we can maintain our capacity to do things here. Reece Fund, Christian capital, boldly deployed.
All right, we are back.
All right. I like the way you said it. The time to pivot is now.
Yes.
Guys, 2028 for president, for governor, for senate, it really isn't that far away. And it is enough time to actually find the guys, for the guys to put a campaign together and the guys to run. You have to start thinking post-MAGA. You have to start thinking, these are the issues that are going to be important. And what you can do, even if you're not going to win. So like running for president. Yeah, if you're not a household name right now, let's be honest, you don't have a chance.
That's right.
You're not going to discover yourself.
So Joel,
and
you
blow
should
up
be
in a
president.
year.
No.
Yeah.
Would I take it? Sure. Can I get it? No chance in hell. It's like president. Think about this. Kanye West, like just about everybody would at least recognize his name. Mm-hmm. What did he get? 3%, something like that when he ran?
I think it was something like 2.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It is a big, you must be really, really known. So there's no new face that's just going to come in and sweep it.
Yeah, you'll probably have Marco Rubio. He's likely to run for president,
Yep.
if not just to position for a vice president
You have
position.
Rubio, you have Vance. Who else?
Kristi Noem would potentially run. Marjorie Taylor Greene would potentially
It looks
run
like she's starting to make a play.
on an America First platform. Thomas Massey, has he said anything?
Yeah, he wouldn't shock me. DeSantis, would he try again?
I don't know. He wouldn't get it for
wouldn't.
sure.
He
And
wouldn't.
we like DeSantis in
Yeah,
many
we like
ways.
him. We do.
He
just
loves
not-
him
he's
some
just-
Israel.
He's just not
That is one
president
thing about
material.
DeSantis.
He does.
But he's very stiff and awkward. Here's an exciting development. James Fishback for governor of Florida. He recently announced his candidacy. Ron DeSantis can't run anymore in Florida. He's termed out. Right.
That's right.
That's how it kind of works. Like the best states, the best governors. It's like, all right, you've had a great 3 years. Now someone else has to run. That's what happened in Virginia. Glenn Youngkin termed out. He's not the greatest, but termed out. And Virginia lost the governorship to the Democrats, right? Gavin Newsom will probably be governor of California, if not president of the United States, for like 80 years. But DeSantis can't run again in Florida. And the heir apparent with Trump's endorsement, gross, is Byron Donalds. The guy is, he seems like a nice guy. He seems like a Christian guy.
Sure, I'm sure.
Uninspiring, to say the least.
Well, yeah, not just that, but like, I mean, he wants to keep importing people to America. He's like, It's all the old tropes of like, we need no illegal immigration, but we need even more legal immigration. He's terrible. He's out of touch. He doesn't get it, and he'll destroy the state.
Yep. But James Fishbank has come out, and he's really running on the platform that's everything we're talking about.
Yep.
It's nationalistic. It's America first. It's Christian. That is a huge element of it.
Yep.
He wants to restore Christian values, ending the H-1B visa program. These guys are actually appearing. That's what's going to happen is as MAGA retreats, as MAGA fades out, the good news is that actually paves the way for the people that probably are actually going to do the real work all along. The last 10 years, believe it or not, in many ways, that could have been the lobby, the pre-game lobby, the preparation, the preseason. You can think in those terms. For the last 10 years, we've actually finally now gotten down to what the fight is really about, what it means to be an American. What does America need? What does it mean to be America first?
Yeah. Real quick, Cosmic Treason in the chat. He said, I see your DeSantis objection and I raise you. He actually made it illegal for Chinese nationals to own land in Florida. He's more likely to end foreign aid than Trump. I would agree. I think he is more likely to end foreign aid. I think we can do better.
Yep.
I think we can do better. But if you're saying on that issue, he might be better than Trump, no argument.
Yep. DeSantis, he wants to abolish property tax in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually taken a good bit of the cudgel to the left in Florida, firing district attorneys, using basically the weight of the law to say, you're a leftist, you're violent, you're teaching indoctrination in schools, you're out. DeSantis, in many ways, has done a wonderful job in Florida. And hopefully, so this means DeSantis has done great. Florida is deep red. James Fishbank now, he's a former hedge fund manager, 30 years old, brilliant guy, super sharp. These guys are coming out of the woodwork. You didn't know I didn't know who James Fishbank was a week ago, but these guys exist and they've been working.
We just haven't met them yet.
Exactly.
And the same way that there's a ton of people who don't know about us. There are new people every day who are finding our podcast and like, who are these guys? This is awesome. I'm encouraged. I think that in the same way that Trump has objectively changed, he's moved left. He has. He's not the same Trump. He has moved left. In the same way, a lot of young guys in the last, very recently, I'm not just saying the last 15 years or the last 20, no, in the last 2 to 4 years, a bunch of young guys under the age of 40 have moved right. So it's like, so who are our future heroes? Who's going to be our future president? Who are our guys? Our guys are being forged in the fire of adversity right now. So I think we have a lot of our guys, but they're being made today. They'll be revealed tomorrow, and they'll be leading the way in the near future. We just can't see all of them yet, but they are appearing day by day.
And that's super encouraging to me.
It is.
You could look at it as a black belt. Man, MAGA's over. 10 years, a huge populist movement. The whole world was watching when Trump was elected. From the UK, everywhere, like, we can't believe this. This is terrible. You have this incredible movement, and really it's going to have about 10 years. And you go look at that and go, man, we've got no shot. The left is always going to win. They're always going to keep turning things to the left. But if you pan out and you look on the other side, you can see they were only just, for many of us, kind of the introduction. Trump introduced the ideas. He put them into the public consciousness that now the next generation is saying, we're going to take them and run with them.
Yeah,
Trump, 2016, no H-1Bs?
Right.
I like that.
Trump was the precursor. He was someone who just, he served to activate, to radicalize, to spur people on. Trump was the catalyst, but he's not going to be the American Caesar, who crosses the Rubicon and changes, gets us back, causes us to return, as the kids say. Like, that's just not who he is. So Trump, for who he is, and more importantly, who he was and what he's been, praise God. Praise God. But MAGA moving forward, no way. And honestly, guys have said it. Nick Fuentes said it, but he's not the only one. Other guys have said it, and I think it's true. As bad as Trump is now, as low as his approval ratings are now, as much as I feel like he really has stepped left and compromised based off of today versus where he was at in 2016, anyone else in MAGA would actually be even worse. Mm-hmm. If Trump can't do it or won't do it, there's no way that J.D. Vance will. You think J.D. Vance is going to, J.D. Vance, Trump has been a little bit of a disappointment, but, he's still really great. And we just need someone slightly better than Trump. And when I look at the lay of the land and think, who's to the right of Trump, I think of the guy who has done nothing and whose son's name is Vivek and who married an Indian and only came into prominence because of millions of dollars from Peter Thiel. Wait, what? What? How? So you're saying Trump, the self-made billionaire, couldn't do
multiple times over? He lost his net worth multiple times.
Right.
Rebuilt it.
And rebuilt
Incredible.
it. So that guy, American made, he couldn't do it. But J.D. Vance, made by the sodomite Peter Thiel, he'll do it? No way. So that's the point, is that Trump is the best of MAGA.
Right.
So we're not just saying, hey, he's not our guy. Not anymore. We're not just saying that about Trump. The point is to say Trump he was the best of MAGA, and MAGA overall has slid left, but even in sliding left and Trump sliding left with it, Trump's still the best of MAGA, which means MAGA has nothing to offer. When we say Trump can't do it, we mean no one in MAGA can do it. We need something else. We need something distinct. We need something new. Not just make America great again, but we need America first. We need make Americans first again. It's going to be a new coalition, a new movement, new leaders, new people inspiring, new people taking the helm, and they're going to be, for the most part, young. They're going to be young. They're going to appear radical. They're going to have intense charisma. And these are the guys that I'm looking for. These are the guys that I'll vote for. And if the GOP won't present any of these guys as a candidate to vote for, then the GOP will not receive my vote.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that.
And that's where I think a lot of the criticism's coming from. I mean, obviously, the administration's actually just been bad on policy, whether it's H-1Bs or now the 50-year mortgage or not releasing the Epstein files, or the list goes on and on in terms of policy.
Or not doing the mass deportations.
Right, the immigration, exactly. But I think the other side of the coin in terms of real criticism is that they're actually in the way. They've become an obstacle to exactly what you just described, Joel, which is actually continuing to move the party in the direction, carrying the momentum forward into 2028. And if you have this MAGA coalition, that is a strong coalition that was a force in elections.
Yeah, it was.
If you're trying to copycat that and have a playbook, run that exact same playbook in 2028, you are going to lose.
Yeah.
We are calling that now. That's exactly what we're saying. And so MAGA now has not only just been an object of criticism because they're making bad decisions and governing poorly, but they become an object because they're an obstacle, they're a hurdle to actually what we're trying to accomplish now. And so that's something that has to be understood. Just the reality is like we have to focus on 2028. We are like to the point of turning away from MAGA, already starting to get on the ground. Like running for president, you talked about popularity. It's not just popularity. These are massive apparatuses, right? That have to be organized and formed years and years in advance, grassroots, lots of money involved, state to state, county to county, all over America. These are massive organizations and movements, and they don't spring up overnight. You've got to be thinking about that now. And here's the reality on the ground. We're already behind.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So if that was the white pill, that wasn't as much of one. But earlier, MAGA's dying, something new is rising.
Yep.
Here's the warning. Don't fall for the rhetoric. So this was Trump, for example. He said all of the good things. J.D. Vance, you can even see, I just saw it today, someone calling him a kind of America first moment as he talked about Appalachia and all of the Americans there that have been left behind, which is awesome. J.D. Vance is also the president of the United States. Don't settle for someone just repeating the words. This is what happens with a movement, right? It grows, people don't like it, then it becomes popular, and people go and they adopt the language and they steal from it.
Yep.
That is going to happen with America first.
Yeah,
but all you need to do, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the tail of the tape.
Correct.
Brian Donalds, for instance, running for governor in Florida, Mr. Pro H-1B. He's actually come out because of James Fishbank putting pressure on him. He's like, well, I'm actually in favor of ending it. Well, he was in Congress for, I think, 4 years, never authored a bill and never did anything to move anywhere close towards ending the program. Now, some guys, truly, they don't have a record in public office. You're going to have to, at some level, take them at their word. Okay, you're promising to do this. You seem to be upstanding in these areas, successful in these areas. I'm going to have to trust you. But other guys that have been in office before, they're gonna stick their finger in the wind. MAGA's not where it is anymore. I want to win an election. I'm an America First patriot.
Right.
Well, hang on. I can look at where you voted here, you voted here, you voted here. Oh, J.D. Vance, he's probably going to adopt that language. He'll probably cool it a little bit on the Israel rhetoric. He'll use the America First language. But when he runs in 2027, it is up to you to hold him accountable and say, you were vice president for 3 years. What did you do for us? Show me on paper. Who was prosecuted? What leftists were thrown in prison? What programs did you pilot? You can't show any of them? And you're the America First guy? No, you're not. But you had your chance.
And here's going to be the interesting litmus test. I think there's two. I think in terms of really, like, are you really willing to break? Because even when it's like, I can look at your record, look, I'll give some grace and some charity here. Like, perhaps you can change over 10 years in terms of what coming through seeing through the fog, seeing the forest through the trees. Right. But the litmus test will be, what's your stance on Israel? Are you willing to criticize Israel or not? And the second is, are you willing to break with Trump? So that's a big one. If you remember in the GOP primary, one of the, you had so many candidates. Trump wasn't even showing up to the debates. And the reality was he was always going to win. He was a shoo-in. And the case in point of that fact was that no one would criticize him. No one would criticize him because they knew he is the standard bearer. Now the question will become, in 2028, who's willing to break with Trump? Who's willing to leave him behind and say, you know what? Actually, he was wrong on that issue. He was wrong on that. And for the folks in his administration, so many of which we're going to see in that 2028 primary, that's going to be a big litmus test.
No, you're right. I tweeted that out actually this morning, like this almost, 7:30 or 8 o'clock. I just dropped the girls off at their Christian school. And I said, it's long past time to admit that Donald Trump is not our guy. He was merely the precursor to another. MAGA is dead. America First is ascendant. This is the new litmus test. If anyone refuses to say this, they're not on the team. And what I mean by that is the same thing you just said, Antonio. When I say this is the new litmus test, I don't mean just say America First and define it as Americans first, putting Americans first. But I mean say the whole thing, the whole tweet that I just put out, which is the second half is America First. The first half is MAGA ain't it.
Right.
MAGA ain't it. And so as you're looking to new candidates, you need to be able to see who is willing to. You can be shrewd, you can be strategic. I understand how politicians work. I get that. But if the rubber meets the road, if it comes down to it, who's willing to give up a Trump endorsement?
Yep. To
stand on America First principles? That's your guy.
And you don't have to be rude about it. If you're a politician, you're listening to this now, you're running for office. Be shrewd. You don't have to come out if you're running for local mayor. I denounce Donald Trump. Like, that's silly. But you can say, hey, he did a lot of good, but these policies have had an expiration point. I don't think he's the future. There's tactical ways to go about it, but like all things with courage, it'll be costly up front. There are people that won't win the election because they stand up and they say, no, actually, this type of MAGA propositional nationhood, we're done with it. And they might early on lose some elections, lose friendships, lose endorsements. But we've been following this for about 2 years now. This is the direction things are headed. Mm-hmm. So the early courage now, I'm telling you guys, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off in 2028, much less 2030, midterms, 2032,
I think
presidency.
By 2028, I'm going to be praying. We're going to be working. We're going to be doing everything we can. But if I had to predict, I'm going to say we're in trouble, 2028. But I do believe by the grace of God, 2030 midterms and 2032, I think you will see MAGA completely replaced, America First completely ascendant, and some really good candidates. The only question is, will it be too late? Like, will we still have a country? Let's go to our last commercial break. We've got a lot of super chats that are piling in. Let me say this before we hear from our last word from our sponsors for the day. Number one, if you want your comment or your question to be read live on the air, then you need to send it in and send it as a super chat, right? So you can send a question or a comment without a super chat, but the reality is we're always going to prioritize the super chats first. And honestly, for months now, the super chats are all we have time to get to. We've already got a lot that have piled in. So if you want your comment to be read or your question to be read live on the broadcast, and send it in as a super chat, help us, help you, support this ministry. We appreciate it greatly. Also, take the time to subscribe on YouTube, Right Response Ministries on YouTube. Subscribe and click the bell, and make sure that you follow us also on X. Our handle on X is at Right Response M as in ministries, at Right Response M as in ministries, and we are broadcasting live. These aren't just pre-recorded episodes. We do 3 live broadcasts every single week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. Central Time. And we broadcast live simultaneously on 2 platforms, only 2 platforms, YouTube and X. So make sure that you are following us on X at Right Response M is the handle. Click the bell over there. On X, same thing on YouTube. Subscribe, Right Response Ministries. Click the bell over there. And then if you're somebody who likes to catch the stream after the fact on the way home from work on a podcast platform, that's fine too. We are available usually within about 1 to 2 hours after the stream ends. It uploads everywhere on our website, on our app, on Apple, on Spotify, all the different various platforms.
Ad-free on Patreon.
Ad-free on Patreon, that's right. And we appreciate our Patreon supporters. It means the world. If you are somebody who listens to the podcast, right? You're on Spotify, you're on Apple. There's nothing really to subscribe to. I mean, I guess you subscribe on Apple and Spotify, but you're not going to be able to send in a super chat. You're not watching us live. But one thing that you can do over there that's completely free and takes you, 30 seconds of time, but makes a massive difference is give us a positive 5-star review. If you've been blessed by this ministry, if you appreciate the content, it really does make a difference. The more 5-star reviews we have, it's I feel like Ron Burgundy. It's science, right? It really is. It's just the algorithm science. The algo science is you give us a 5-star review. If we get more of those, then Apple and Spotify, it triggers their algorithms and it gets our podcast out to more people for the glory of God, pushing for the crown rights of Christ, of Jesus Christ, who is King. So help us in that regard. We'll hear a last message from our sponsors for the day. Then we're coming back and we're going to hit super chats. The silver is mine and the gold is mine, declares the Lord of hosts. Yet your retirement dollars keep shrinking daily as Washington prints money out of thin air. Genesis Gold Group aligns financial guidance with godly principles when others serve only profit. Their faith-centered approach to gold IRAs stands apart in an industry that has forgotten what true stewardship actually means. Why gamble your family's future on Wall Street's paper promises? Your 401k and IRA deserve better protection. Genesis Gold Group transforms your vulnerable retirement accounts into physical gold, something real, something tangible, something that God created with inherent value. Their faith-driven experts walk you through every step, helping you shield your life's work from the financial storms up ahead. No high-pressure tactics, no hidden fees, just guidance rooted in timeless principles of sound stewardship. So the decision is simple. Watch your retirement evaporate through inflation or secure it in God's precious metal. Take action now. Go and visit rightresponsebiblegold.com. You can visit today for your free book, The Bible and Gold, and join the thousands of believers who sleep soundly knowing their future is anchored in something unshakable. Again, that's rightresponsebiblegold.com, safeguarding your legacy with God's timeless treasure. When it comes to your financial future, are you planning forward or backwards from your desired results? What type of financial culture do you want to create for your family and for your children's children? We are not called to be wise as doves. Therefore, simpleton planning simply won't cut it. Joe Garrissey helps families develop and implement a long-term culture of excellent financial management. He starts with your goals, your tithing plan, your retirement, and the legacy that you want to build for your generations. And then he works backwards to build a real actionable plan to get your family on track. Now, many of my personal friends have benefited from the financial wisdom of Joe Garrissey that he's shared for their specific situations. Do you want to work with someone who strives for alpha with your investing, hates taxes, and brokers insurance? Start planning smart. Call Joe Garrissey at 615-767-2555. Again, that's 615-767-2555. Or you can find him by going to backwardsplanningfinancial.nm.com. Again, that's backwardsplanningfinancial.in as in Nancy, M as in ministries.com. We're back.
All right.
We are back. All right.
So this comment has come up tons in the chat, not super chats, but people just saying, even some of them in good faith, good friends, they're picking on us. Like, this is so funny. These guys are sitting here and they think there are political solutions to a nation that's 30% foreigners, that has been invaded at our border, that has no sense of identity.
There are always political solutions.
Right. Well, first of all, for one, we're not idiots and we know history. I think of the meme where the guy says, look, violence is never the answer.
He's like, oh,
He's
no.
like, the answer is action. He picks up a history book. The answer is, like, yeah, we recognize that history is replete with tons of different
But
movements
that's still
and things
political.
that have happened.
That's still political.
For one, that's still political. For two, we're aware of history. I've used this illustration because people say that a lot. Guys in our church have said that. Like, you're not doing anything. You're screaming into the void. You're really going to vote for this guy and this guy. And for one, we're going to stop the pity votes. I'm not voting for Ted Cruz again. Well, we're going to lose the Senate. Okay. You gave me a terrible candidate. I'm not voting for him. He represents America more than he represents Texas. I'm done with that.
No, you mean he represents Israel.
I'm sorry, he represents Israel more than he represents Texas.
That's right.
I'm not voting for him. So all that aside, though, when our movement gains enough speed, enough people, enough voices, and enough influence, there actually isn't going to be any stopping it. Like, demographics is destiny. Yes, for voting, but practically speaking, if you had 20 million men, loved Christ, honored him, they were convicted of the need to take back our country, they saw the way to do it, the necessity of the moment, they could do it. It doesn't really matter if they're outnumbered or whatever it would be. It's totally possible when you have the amount of people. And I don't think the amount of people needs to be 60, 70, 80%. You're never going to get that. A small, convicted minority leading the way for the rest. Now, what you do need is time. Think of a plane going to take off of a runway. And the runway itself is disintegrating. The plane can take off if you have enough distance. It really can. That plane, as it gets enough speed, enough momentum, enough propulsion, it will take off and it will fly and it will be fine. It has to have enough runway. So one of the reasons we put all this effort into voting and we're involved behind the scenes politically is to give enough runway for this movement to grow, for people to wake up, to see what they've lost and say, for one, Christ is the answer. We need Christ. And two, here's what we need to do about it. So we're assembling the runway. We're getting people stuffed into the plane. You guys, hopefully, you're helping to man the engines. If we have enough runway, we will take off. That's why we're involved in politics. Not because we're going to vote our way out of this. Not because, well, if we just, vote even harder and just keep doing the right thing, in 25 years we'll be good. No, we'll probably have rough years ahead of us. But if we can survive long enough, I think we're going to win.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, next super chat. So that was this dude rocks.
Yeah. So this dude rocks. He sent $10. I'll just read it for context.
Yeah, read it.
He's kind of summing up the whole chat. He said, chat today says there's no political solutions without Christ. What are your thoughts on this? And how do you think this is thought is discounting El Salvador, or rather evidence of chat being right?
Yeah, there's no long-term indefinite political solutions without Christ, but there are absolutely political solutions with Christ. That's the thing. It's not, that's a false dichotomy. So it's either Christ or political solutions. Now you must be Christian, right? We must make America Christian again, right? MAGA. We've got to make it Christian again. Otherwise, you have a good life here on earth, temporally like a vapor, and then you die and go to hell. That's not loving anyone. And so it's not less than Christ, but it's not Christ or political solutions. Because if it's just Christ, then sure, people will go to heaven, and that's what matters most. That's most important. But life on earth will be terrible. There are plenty of Christians in North Korea who die and go to heaven, but their life in North Korea is really, really rough. And we would like to avoid that if possible. So there is, this is what I think people miss. There is a very real category of America being Christian, but still being a terrible place to live. So it can't just be Christ. It has to be Christ, all of Christ for all of life. It has to be Christ applied. It has to be theology applied. And so all we're arguing, we're not arguing, hey, political solutions, other than Christ, instead of Christ. No, we're saying it's got to be Christ and political solutions. It can't just be, you know what? We're going to have more national days of prayer and also more H-1B visas. No. It's got to be more prayer, more conversion, more preaching, and also more deportations. Also, not doing 50-year mortgages. Also, getting out of the national debt. Like it's both. It's both. That's all we're saying. Okay, let's go to, here's 10th generation American, SOAR.
Sons of the American Revolution.
All right.
All right.
He gave us $5. We appreciate that. He said, steps to guide fam and community in growing national ethnic pride without seeming to overshadow our identity in Christ. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. We appreciate that. So again, he's asking, what are some steps to guide people into growing a sense of national/ethnic pride, but without ultimately abandoning our Christian principles, our chief identity, highest identity being in Christ? What do you guys think?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know that I've met the person. They're probably out there that at this point in time in these United States, their identity as an American is truly overshadowing their identity as a Christian. And I say that to say, to whatever degree you want to emphasize that, which is good and right, I do think it would be hard in our time to actually succeed in like truly getting to the point where this guy loves America more than he loves Jesus. It's possible, it could happen, but we have been so deficient in that, in our natural affection, in our pride. Remember, when it comes to the nation and patriotism is rooted in the word father. You're having pride in your fathers and what they did, and we've had such a deficiency of it that I would struggle to imagine, like, say you put the American flag out back and it's Memorial Day and it's July 4th and you're telling stories and the bedtime stories you read at night. This is actually what I do with my son. I'm reading him from like an American folklore book. So it's Paul Bunyan and it's George Washington and it's Robert E. Lee. I would find it difficult to find someone they've infused their life with a lot of these things and they're still a Christian that actually has gotten to the point of sinful idolatry.
Right.
So I would say take those things as much as you can. What flag do we fly? The American flag. Maybe it's the Texas flag if you live in Texas, for example. So pride in your nation, pride in your state. It's the stories you tell. It's the songs that you sing. It's the people you look up to. There's a dear family in our church, and they just have quotes from Robert E. Lee on the wall as a remembrance of, here's a great, incredible American who did incredible things. And I want my sons and daughters, when they think of great men, to think of him and the encouragements that he had. I
agree. In a nutshell, I think what Wes is saying, he's absolutely right, is that we are much further off the rails than people are willing to admit.
Right.
Like, you just have to recognize that virtually every single Christian in the West is a full-blown Gnostic. They really are. By any theological standard, virtually any theologian from 100 years or older, if they were to come and arrive and visit today, they'd say, oh my goodness, you guys, you're not even Orthodox anymore. You are Gnostics. You have come to the place that natural affections, the temporal, the earthly life, the physical is of not less account than the spiritual, but of no account. You have embraced the Gnostic heresy that the body is, the flesh is simply just a prison, that it's something to be despised, and your spirit, your soul is just, captured, subdued within this prison of the flesh. And it's good to just scourge yourself and to be accelerationist, to work towards the destruction of your nation, the destruction of your flesh, the breakdown of marriages. You're Gnostics. And they would arrive at this because of what Christians have said for decades and decades and decades. I mean, think of the Gospel Coalition. Virtually every single article for the last 20 years has been, you love your family? Well, it sounds a bit like idolatry. You love your country? It sounds a bit like idolatry. You love anything natural, anything physical, anything temporal. Never is that spoken of positively. It's always simply pushed back against as though you're an idolater. And so it's just, I guess the answer is just that danger, that concern that 10th generation American SOAR brought up is we're just so far from overcompensating in the other direction that that it's not even, I take this in the same, here's another example. The guys are like, well, we're just, I believe in male headship, but I'm just really concerned about toxic patriarchy. I'm afraid about I'm worried. I'm just concerned about hyper patriarchy. Guys, we are immersed in feminism. We are nowhere near hyper patriarchy. We're not even close, if there even is such a thing. And so the idea, well, I'm worried about hyper nationalism. I'm worried about idolatrous patriotism. I think that those actually could be things and have been things in the past. We have been nowhere close. We have been on the full opposite end of the spectrum for a century. So we're just, I don't know, like, come back, come see me in 100 years, right? And we'll see if maybe it's a concern worth talking about. We're nowhere close right now.
Yep. And they were just asking for steps. And so, like I said earlier, adorning everyday life with things that call to mind, that celebrate, that speak highly of your heritage without fear of, I don't want to overshadow, my relationship to Christ.
Yeah. And I'm saying that not because I know this is our guy, 10th generation American. He's our guy. Great guy. One of the best guys. I know him. Great guy. The best guy. I know his swing. He's a great guy. So I know he's on our side. I'm saying that as an answer to equip him, because I felt like in the question that, part of what he's trying to get at is,
he's heard that objection himself.
Exactly. Equip me with some rhetoric when I get this objection from, grandma or from, this person or that person. And that's my suggestion. That's my recommendation is that you tell them, hey, look at the big picture, pan out, get the 30,000 foot view. We are all the way on the other end of the spectrum. And so when you're there wholesale as a country, worrying about the opposite error that you're not even close to is silly.
Yep.
And I would just add that and I think you alluded to this, Wes, but like what's wonderful about being an American, I think specifically, is that the two things, your ethnic and national identity, aren't divorced from Christ, actually. So when you think about adorning your life with songs and art and history from your nation, it's actually, I think you can have an emphasis with respect to the Christian identity that has existed in America. And so, I mean, to the extent that you can tailor it even within your national identity and ethnic identity to the things that the Christian faith has done through them, I think you won't be hard pressed in America.
It's George Washington praying. It's American and Christian.
That's
You're
right.
bringing those together.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, this dude rocks. That's the next one, $5. We appreciate it. This guy is racking up, like, I kid you not, 10 super chats a live stream.
He probably has a second job. Like he's saying
And
goodbye to
Antonio
his
literally
family.
asked me in the last commercial break, he was like, are you this dude Ross? Shoot me straight. Are you sitting in these super chats? No, we appreciate you. Thank you. He said, why won't Trump as an elderly lame duck president, right? He's saying like the dude is 80 something years old.
He won't have the House, so he can't pass
He can't win
legislation.
again. Exactly. He's about to lose the House. So he's got nothing to lose is what he's saying. So why would he, elderly lame duck president, refuse to just turn on his donors and foreign interests and do his own thing? And then he suggests, he said, is it contracts, blackmail, pride? To which I would respond by saying, I think all the above. Mm-hmm. I think all the above.
That's our whole question. Why? What does he owe the Adelsons? You can't give people money and say, you have to sign in the dotted line that you'll do this.
What are they going to do?
You can turn on them.
Yeah.
Unless there really is like something that people could expose.
Yeah. I think that's certainly on the table. I think there's you can think about it from the political sort of view first and say, look, at the end of the day, he wants to be a good president. He cares about his legacy, as all men would in that situation. And if you turn on your donors, if you turn on the people who got you in office, your life's going to be hell. You're not going to get anything accomplished. Day to day, you're going to be fighting. You're going to get, smeared. And that's not fun. And Trump knows that better than anyone. And so I think there's an element of just the political reality being like, look, I want to go along to get along. I think there's certainly the personal element as well in terms of just pride. I don't think we can divorce the things Trump does from personal conviction. Like we disagree with him, but I think to be charitable, he actually does believe things that we disagree with, and he has conviction about them, and he wants to stand by them and wants to see them come to fruition. And so I
think his highest conviction is honestly it's surrounding economic policies.
Yeah.
I think his highest conviction is like the tariffs and things like that. And for the record, I think that actually had some America First spirit behind it. That was honestly one in his second
It's his best
term.
area, business.
Exactly. So like he's a 1990s liberal New York Democrat who was and is a very savvy businessman. So I think that's really his highest conviction. I mean, we are talking about the guy at the end of the day, and I voted for him. So I'm not trying to give people a hard time, but we are talking about the guy who is on his third marriage, serial adulterer, posed, for pictures with Hugh Hefner, is arguably on the Epstein list, all those kinds of things. We're talking about that guy. If we think that his ideology, that his convictions are going to be in a moral arena, then I think we're being naive, and we're expecting something from a guy who's just not that guy. But he has had, I think, if Trump has, I think he is very much, what do the people like? I love people who love me. I hate people who hate me. I think he's guided a lot by the masses and what the masses saying, wanting to be liked. And other than that, in terms of does he have any convictions of his own, I think most of them are in regards to economic business policies. And I think in his first term, there also were some genuine convictions when it came to foreign affairs. That's about it. And the reason why that made him so look amazing, otherwise liberal, exactly, on the culture war, on the moral issues, liberal. Mm-hmm. And America first on some of the economic policies and those kinds of things. And the reality is that things were so bad for decades and decades and decades with the GOP that it was just such a low bar that Trump looked amazing by comparison. Right. He really did. So all right, let's skip down. So this is Jesse ESP. He gave us $300 super chat. Take note of that, guys. Incredible. That's the new bar. Everybody shooting for 300.
High score.
New high score, man. No, we appreciate it. Very generous, very kind. He said, when an extended family member is actively sinning and it is endorsed by the rest of the family for the sake of family unity, parentheses, or at least they tell me there's nothing that they can do, close parentheses, is it wrong to not want to participate in the Thanksgiving supper when you have to pretend for the sake of family that you have a unity that's really not there? I don't know, man. I don't know. I've done many counselings with people who have struggled with in-laws and outlaws and all those kinds of things, that they've come to traditional biblical convictions, and their family is Christian, and they're either regenerate but just your kind of modern Christian today, which isn't great, or they're Christian in name only. But in either case, they're normie Christians. And so this is first thing I would say is you're not alone. This is very common. Pretty much everybody, I feel like every young, traditional guy who's patriarchal, who's a nationalist, who's reformed in his convictions and this, that, and the other, has, some element of this struggle, whether it's with his mother-in-law or whether it's with his father or whether it's with a brother, or so this is very, very common. My best advice is to strive to be at peace with all men. It's as so far as it depends on you. As the scripture says, family is a different category. I would remind you of that. Family is a different category, right? So if it's not family or extended family, then you're not really under any obligation to pretend, as though there's peace when there is no peace. But when it comes to family, it's just family is weighty. Family is significant. It's not trivial. It's not a small thing. And so family really is worth bearing. Love bears all things, hopes all things. You only have one family. And I understand people be like, well, my local church is my family, or me and the boys, or, I'm in the group chat, we say GM every single morning. Those things are awesome. They're awesome. Yeah. It's not family. You only get one family, and it matters. It matters, even if it's hard. We should not be casting that off lightly. And here's the deal: you sit Thanksgiving out. That's not small. You sit out Thanksgiving, and the message that's a big, strong message. You've just given 2 middle fingers to the family, and that's a really big deal. I had one other thing, because I've been praying about this, thinking about this myself. You have an obligation to honor thy father and mother, and that's on both sides. So that would also apply to your father-in-law and mother-in-law. So you have an obligation for your parents and your wife's parents to show honor. You have that command of honor and respect. There is no such command when it comes to siblings. So your brothers and sisters, or your brothers-in-law and your sisters-in-law, you do not have to respect them. There's only two different categories of a biblically mandated respect when it comes to people. One is by virtue of their person. The other is by virtue of their position. Now, ideally, you're respecting the person who is respectable in both regards, meaning position, it's someone who is in a position of authority, like a father or a mother or the emperor, the king, a civil magistrate or a pastor or a teacher, right? Somebody in a position of authority. So there are people who are not respectable in terms of their person. They don't have character. They don't have virtue. They're not a respectable person, but they are in a position that mandates respect. And the Bible tells us, it commands us that we respect them regardless by virtue of their position, even if their person is not respectable. That said, if someone has no authority, they're not a father or a mother or a civil magistrate or a teacher or a pastor or anything like that. They're a pauper, they're a peasant. They're on the bottom of the totem pole in terms of their position, their status in society, but they're virtuous, they're godly, they're Christian, they're wise, then that person actually is still worthy of respect because they're respectable by virtue of their person. Do you see what I'm saying? So when it comes to your brothers and sisters, right? Parents and in-laws, when it comes to parents-in-law, so your parents and your wife's parents, if they're not respectable, virtuous, wise, godly, courageous, these kinds of things, by virtue of their person, you still must show honor to them, or God's not going to bless you. Because their position, aside from their person, you would hope that in their person they'd be respectable. But even if they're not, by position alone, they mandate respect. God commands you to it. When it comes, though, to your siblings, right? So not mother and father-in-law and mother and father, but now we're talking about brothers and sisters-in-law and brothers and sisters. They do not have, biblically speaking, any mandated respect owed to them by virtue of their position. So then it only falls on their person. And if in their person they're a libtard, then you are not obligated to show them any respect at all. They're family, and so you should have love. Love bears all things, so you can have patience, you can have hope, you can have kindness. But you at the same time, and I'm not saying advocating for saying this out loud, but privately, you can just know between you and your wife, your immediate family, and the Lord, when it comes to my brother or when it comes to my sister-in-law or when it comes to this person or that person, they're not in a position that requires respect. And in their person, they do not have anything outstanding in their character that mandates respect. And so you can know privately, I don't have any respect for them at all, but I still love them. So I love them, but I don't respect them. And so then what does love obligate? I think love obligates patience. It obligates kindness. It obligates long-suffering, bearing all things. But love does not obligate. In fact, love prohibits flattery, right? Saying things that you would say to someone who is respectable to a person who's not respectable is a lie. It's a form of flattery, which is a sin. So in love, you can exercise kindness and patience, but not respect. Respect is a separate category. Respect must be earned. We freely love because we're freely loved by God. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. But respect it's a separate category. And so I would say with the family, you got to respect mom and dad. You got to respect mom-in-law, dad-in-law. And if you got a problem with, one of your brothers, one of your sisters, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, I would strongly encourage you, one, to love them, but then also to love them even more by proxy of honoring mom and dad, because mom and dad are going to be really, really hurt if you don't go to Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
And so you're not doing it for your libtard brother, your feminist sister-in-law or your whatever. You're doing it for mom and dad. Yeah. I'm going to honor mom and dad. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be like the meme with the kid who's holding in the fart, the veins busting out of his head, as they're talking about something that's so stupid and it's stupid and you could just obliterate them right there with facts and logic, but you don't, because you're going to honor your father, your mother, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law. And so you're going to show in love, not respect to them, But in love, you're going to bear all things and show kindness and patience to the siblings.
Well said. Yeah, I just to add to that, or I guess package it differently is to say, I don't think it's not pretend unity when you show up to a Thanksgiving with family members that you disagree with.
That's not.
I think there's real unity there outside of the specific, and I think this is what you were basically describing, is there's actual unity that's to be had. And I would just say on the topics or the specific lifestyle or whatever it is, don't feign unity in that environment, right? Be kind, be charitable, but don't pretend like you agree with it in the presence of the things. Right. There's a way to both be present and say I love you, to your point, and show unity in the familial sense.
A unity of presence, but not unity on a particular point that you know is wrong.
Right. And then the specific case, right? He says it sounds like they've endorsed the act of sinning from this person for the sake of family unity, which praise God for that they at least value family unity. Now your job is to actually go into that atmosphere and say, look, I value it too. And I can disagree with it. And so hopefully by that, you actually can convict the other person.
Right. Showing unity despite disagreement.
Exactly.
Instead of a fake unity by feigning agreement.
Right.
That's a really good point. But just that is unity. Like people say, well, we want unity, but what they're demanding is affirmation. They're demanding that you agree even when they're blatantly wrong. You don't actually have to agree to have real, genuine. That doesn't make it a fake love or a fake unity. Love bears all things. Right there, what's implied is it bears a lot of retardation, a lot of frustrating, objectively wrong things being bared with real love. Wrong things being bared with real love. Or I think of elsewhere in the scripture was love covers an offense. There really is an offense. And so it's like, oh, well, you're just feigning unity by showing up, even though there's this offense and you're not talking about it. No, one of the options with offenses, you have two options as a Christian. One is to go to your brother with the offense. The other, though, is to cover an offense. You actually don't have to go, believe it or not, crazy, big if true, okay? This is big if true. You actually don't have to go to your brother with every single offense. You actually have a second option available, which is you can let love cover an offense. But here's the deal. If you choose that second option and you let love cover the offense, you actually have to truly let love cover the offense. And what I mean by that is you can't still just bury the offense, but allow the offense to continue living on. Love covering the offense means I'm letting go of the offense. I am not offended. I'm no longer offended. They did something that's offensive, but I truly, without even bringing it up, I have freely forgiven them. I'm overlooking it. I'm not counting against them. Love keeps no records of wrongs. So then how do I go in with my family, with certain members that I profoundly disagree with on X, Y, and Z, and sing Kumbaya and have, a Merry Christmas? How do I do that? Well, the way that you do that is you pick your battles very few and far between, very selectively, to actually bring up an offense in the most charitable way possible. You do that with probably a ratio of 1 in 10. The other 9, you don't bring the offense, you cover it. And when I say cover it, I don't mean hide it, bury it, sequester it. I mean you actually let it go. You cover the offense to where there is no more offense, which means what do I need? Well, I need a better family. No, what you need is to be a better man. More patience. God, make me more patient, more gracious, more kind. Now, I'm not saying that this is the same strategy that you employ with every relationship you have. No, I think, after careful consideration with the vast majority of your relationships, you should become worse. You should bring the offense. You should not tolerate compromise and this, that, and the other. But I'm telling you, family is, we're fooling ourselves if we don't say this. Family is a unique category. It is a unique category. And what I've realized, honestly, it's kind of weird, but as I'm embracing more of what we're talking about on this episode, America first, a return to natural affections, not being spiritual Gnostics, recognizing that the temporal and these familial bonds actually are significant, that they matter. One of the things that I've had to embrace is this, because there was a time, if you talked to me 10 years ago, I would have said, the family of God is my family. And the local church is all I need. Here are my brothers and sisters. These people who hold to the 5 solas. My actual family, because we had one conversation for 15 minutes a year and a half ago, and it was questionable whether or not they were a Calvinist. And so, you know what? They may be related to me by blood, but they mean nothing. The people of God are like, you just have to understand. You're a lib.
Foolish.
You want to be a real paleo-conservative, real America first. It means going to Thanksgiving and being miserable for the glory of God. Mm-hmm. That's part of what it means. So suck it up and be a man and go in there, smile, honor your father and your mother, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, tolerate some of the siblings, and do it as kindly as you can. Okay, next.
Inevitable Kerfuffle, $20 super chat. Thank you, sir. I'm guessing, sir. It's a picture of Larry from VeggieTales. That's got to be one of our guys.
That's old school.
He said this, thanks for endorsing James Fishback for Florida governor. The Orange County GOP, led by a woman, big shocker, recently hosted a Trump-supporting Muslim speaker. Muslims for Trump. Love it. True America First candidates can have a bright future if they don't get compromised along the way.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen. Next one, Danny Boy. He gave us $12 and he said, make Americans first again. Keep doing the Lord's work, my brothers. Keep defaming the globo-homo tards, the gay race communists. Amen. Yes and amen 1,000 times. Danny Boy, appreciate your generosity. Thank you so much. All right, next one, Antonio.
Yeah, To the Chicken sent $5. Thanks for that. And says, DeSantis counter. Made it illegal for Florida to not buy Israel junk bonds, made us Floridians slaves. Making us Floridians slaves.
Say it again, one more time. Say it one more time.
DeSantis counter, countering what the point
against being countering not us, I don't think, but cosmic treason that we read.
The criticism,
earlier, which just for the record, cosmic treason, longtime supporter. We have some disagreements. Great guy though. I want to respect him. Go ahead.
But they're saying DeSantis made it illegal for Florida to not buy Israel junk bonds, which makes Floridians slaves. So I think.
Okay, so this is actually a counter, not
this
to
is a
cosmic
counter
treason.
to the counter.
To the counter.
This is a counter to us in agreement with cosmic treason, saying here's another positive point.
No, negative point.
So DeSantis isn't allowing foreign investment in the state of Florida. I think that was the point.
Yep.
They're saying, well, but he is also making it illegal to not buy Israel bonds. So I think
that is
illegal.
You have to buy Israel.
You have to buy.
Not
so
illegal.
It was a double negative, illegal to not buy.
Yeah.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, I give a disclaimer. DeSantis, there is an issue that keeps him from being perfect.
No, you said it. You're right.
And that is that man loves him.
He loves him some Israel. Not necessarily like Tel Aviv Ted level, but
not quite, but close.
It's up there.
And a lot of American Jews do live in Florida. It's New York, Florida, and I think one other place. He's got a lot of them in South Florida.
Ben Shapiro lives in Florida. My goodness.
Does he? Or is it Tennessee with
No.
He wouldn't be down there with the plebeians.
No, exactly. Yeah, when he left California, they all left California, and he was like, "Hey, I want the team over here in Tennessee."
Yep.
But I'm living in Florida by myself.
I think
I'm living with the boys.
I think he lives in near or in Boca Raton, which is a very predominantly Jewish.
Hey, that's where Elijah Schaefer lives. Maybe they can be friends.
Maybe. A little guest collab.
Yeah. All right, I'll do the next one here. Okay. So Renee Dean sent $4.99, $5, and says, repeal the 19th exclamation mark from a wife who got this approved by her husband and has a pie in the oven.
What a champion.
So true.
Goodness gracious. A woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. God bless you. The other Paul, he gave us $5. He's a great friend. We've had him on the stream a couple times now. Great guy. He said, when is the Nick collab? Nick who? Who's Nick?
St. Nicholas?
I don't know. Old St. Nick. Going through all the Nicks here. So he's talking about when are you going to do a collab with Nick Fuentes? He's been praising you heaps, he said. So Nick Fuentes on his live stream has been giving you shout outs, Joel. When are you going to do a collab? And I have an answer. The answer is stay tuned. All right. Next, Garrett Mizell. He gave us $5 and he said, how far does 1 Timothy chapter 2 go for women's apparel, right? Not braided hair, those kinds of things. Women's apparel regarding jewelry. My young girl is wanting her ears pierced. This is a good question. And I want to steward her correctly. Great question. That's a godly father. He loves his girl. He's probably, just for the record, defending him. He's probably inclined. His little girl wants earrings. He probably wants to get her earrings, make his little girl happy. But at the same time, she's a little girl, right? Her chief, premier occupation right now should be butterflies. It should be rainbows. It should be unicorns. It's those kinds of things. And we don't want to make our little girls look like grown women too soon. And so that is the fact that he's even mindful of that is a good thing. And that being mindful of that ditch on one side does not even begin to imply or necessitate that he doesn't have the father's heart who wants to make his little girl smile. Great question. Worded really well also. So I've gone through the gambit, on this particular issue. I'm a girl dad. I've got one son, 4 daughters, which is like, who radicalized you? Did you not hear me? I said I have 4 daughters. With each one, I became more of a far-right extremist. And I have to for their well-being. So with this, my wife and I, we've kind of thought and rethought, these kinds of things. I think part of it depends on what the earrings are. So I don't think it's a pass-fail system, I guess is what I'm getting at. I don't think it's just like no ear piercings until they're 12 or until they're 14 or until they're 16 or 18. I think a big part of it is just it's everything combined. It's the full comprehensive sum. So it's like, is it gaudy earrings and full makeup and mascara and lipstick and and shoes and all, like is it the whole 9 yards to where your 7-year-old is very just visibly trying to present herself as though she's an 18-year-old woman? Then you need to scale back. She's not an 18-year-old woman. But I think, it's weighing one thing against another. So if it's, hey, we're not going to do makeup at 6 years old. Okay. But, some tasteful earrings, for Christmas, we're going to get her ears pierced and do some, some childlike earrings. I don't think there's anything, I don't think that 1 Timothy chapter 2 is saying that that's a sin. That's my position.
That's fair.
All right, next.
Reformed Farmer sent $5. He said this. There's a couple super chats. Nate, is that a 2-parter? Okay, so $5. First of all, thank you. He said this. Hey guys, I have become convinced of nations and nationalities by reading Dr. Stephen Wolf's book,
Many such cases.
The Reformers, and the series you did. Would me, a white Reformed Canadian, be accepted in a community like Ogden or Ridgerunner? I currently work 60 to 90 hours a week and make $100,000 a year, still can't buy a house. Absolutely.
Yeah, he would be accepted. Of course he would. Here's the deal. Like, it's like, well, wait a second. That seems like a contradiction. That's, isn't that hypocritical? No. For my friends, anything. For my enemies, the law. No, it's not a contradiction. I love America. I want America to succeed. So public facing at the corporate whole, no more immigration. Period. At a local level, this guy of European descent in Canada who fears the Lord and is
English,
paleo-conservative and speaks English and shares 99% of all of our traditions, who wants to come over here and be a part of our local church and be generous, he can come. Well, but what about the Christian in Uganda? No, he can't come. Wait, well, that's not fair. It's not about fairness. We have a country to save. One person, here's the deal. Not every country is the same. Not all cultures are equal. Not all countries are equal. Not all religions are equal. Not all peoples are equal. There are distinctions. Distinctions necessarily create disparities. And because of that, you are allowed to be selective. Now, if in your selectivity, you've gone to the point where you're like, well, I hate anybody in the world who's not Western, or I hate anybody in the world who's not white. Well, then I think that's hateful. That's not good. That's not a good impulse. I don't believe that's Christian. I think that's wrong and unjustified, without cause, without, basis, just raw, unjustified hatred for an entire people based off of whatever, their culture, their race, their religion. Then, I think you need to repent. But here's the deal. you can be selective about who enters your country without hating those who you don't allow to enter. And it's just a fact. There are peoples, multiple different peoples, cultures, religions, races in the world. Some are more compatible with America. Some are less compatible with America. We know this, right? This came up with the South Africa thing. Remember that? I remember getting some pushback when 49, it was like 49 South
49,000.
No, 49.
49.
That's a full number, right? Less than 50 South African people waving American flags, most of them Protestant Christians and white, European descent, came over to America as refugees. And we were like, yeah, we'll take them. And we said it publicly. We'll take them, and we're glad that they're here. And people are like, that's hypocritical. If you take 49 white, Christian, conservative South Africans, then you must take 49 million Haitians. No. That's not a contradiction. That's just logic. There are some cultures, some peoples, some religions that are more compatible with ours, right? Catholic, for instance. I believe that America is a Protestant nation. It's certainly our heritage, and I think still to this day, it is more Protestant than Catholic. So will you take Catholics? Well, are they conservative? Are they compatible with European descent and virtue and heritage? And then, okay, I think that we can take some of those and say, well, why Catholic but not the Muslim? Because Catholicism is more compatible. Right? It was like, well, but the Catholic Pope is an antichrist. Aren't you Reformed? I'm Reformed. I'm aware of the confessions. But are you really going to sit here and tell me that Catholics are less compatible with Protestants than Muslims or Jews? That's just stupid, guys. Like when your convictions become just raw ideology that defies logic and common sense, then you are embarrassing yourself. You need to grow up. You do. You need to grow up. Muslims are less compatible with America than Catholics. And if you're going to sit here and tell me, well, you know what, Catholics, I guess they're compatible. Muslims definitely aren't compatible, but Jews are also compatible. Wait, what? Come again, please? No, Jews would fall into the Muslim category. If anything, would be further than the Muslim category. Catholic, Jesus Christ, Son of God. Muslim, Jesus Christ, not Son of God, but an esteemed prophet. Jew, Jesus Christ, boiling in hell. Right? This is objective. This is not anti-Semitic. This is facts. That's Judaism. That is the tenets of Judaism, the tenets of Islam, the tenets of Roman Catholicism. So on the religion level, some religions are more compatible with a Protestant in America, some are less. On the race level, some peoples are more compatible, some are less. On the cultural level, political level, every single level, you have a sliding scale, more compatible, less compatible, which means you're allowed to be selective and there is no contradiction. And anybody who says there is a contradiction is just trying to set a trap, to have a gotcha moment, because in their heart of hearts, what they really want to do is destroy your country with infinity immigration and replace Christians and replace white people. You need to know that that's the play. You don't need to fall for the trap. You don't need to apologize. You don't have to give them an explanation. You can just say, I know what you're doing. You hate white people and you hate Christians, and I don't have to play. Yes, I'll take this person. I won't take this person, and I don't care. I don't care. I know my conscience before the Lord is clear. There's no hate in my heart. I just want to have a country that is reminiscent, that is in line with the founding of this country. I want America to be America, and that is not sin. It's not sin. You don't have to apologize for that. Young, white, Christian male, you do not have to apologize for that. It does not make you a racist. It does not make you hateful. It's perfectly just. It's pleasing to the Lord. Handle that position with maturity. Handle it with grace, but also wield it with courage, and do not back down no matter how much guilt is heaped on you. All right.
He just followed up with a $2 super chat, and just to add to his comment, Reform Farmer, he said, my wife is American. I have asked questions before. Great.
Yep. Great.
That's even more compatible.
Yeah, if your wife, even more. And we had pretty much the same question like 3 streams ago, where someone was like, yeah, but it's 2 spouses. One of them is American. Okay, well then that all makes you all the more compatible. I think that's legitimate. Okay, Antonio.
Yep. JD Peabody sent $10. No comment, just to support. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
The next one, Savad Atokad sent $10. Thanks for that. And says, I'm a white, happily married homeowner with 3 kids and 1 on the way. I have strong male friendships and a great church, and I'm only 29. I am an anomaly, and I hate it. Americans first, make me average again.
You
guys laughed
well
at
said.
the other day. He said in the chat, read it backwards.
Oh, okay. Backwards
Right.
is
Dakota
Davis.
Davis.
Okay,
There you
Dakota
go.
Davis.
And we
That's
just
funny.
doxed him. He's losing his job.
Okay. No, that man, great comment. 1, thanks for the $10, and 2, great comment. So he's saying all the things that you guys talk about that are nearly impossible for young white Christian men, by the grace of God, that's not me.
Yeah.
That's
it
not
can
me.
be done.
But he's saying, so number 1, have hope. It could be done. But number 2, he's not just saying, well, why don't you try harder? Why don't you, solo bootstrap you even more? Why don't you, why can't you be like me? Notice the attitude here, right? This young men will lend their ear to. He's saying, I'm not like that. I worked really hard. By the grace of God, I accomplished it. But I know that I'm an anomaly, and I don't want to be. I want my brothers to be able to experience the same kindness, the same ability, the same availability that I've had. That is a great attitude. I commend it. All right, next.
All right. John Inman.
Oh,
1999.
that's our boy.
My guy. He said, what's up, boys? Love you guys. I think of
John.
Megamind. He's like, and I love you, random citizen. And we love you, John Inman.
We love you, John Inman. We do. We
Great
love
guy.
John Inman. John Inman, just saying, it is a movie night. Just throwing it out there. It is a movie night. Text for details, but just saying. John's a local guy, great guy, and it is a movie night. All right. Brown Anglo-Saxon Protestant. He gave us $10. We appreciate that. He said, my father-in-law is a major narcissist. Okay. He doesn't respect my wife or our boundaries, and we've tried reasoning with him. He and my wife are now estranged. That's really sad. Sorry to hear that. How do we show him honor? You know what? I addressed this years ago. And, by God's grace, I've changed on some things. It's like, well, you changed. You changed. Isn't it funny when people are like, you changed, and they assume that that's a gotcha, like that somehow discredits what you're saying? It's like, okay, show me the guy who in 15 years hasn't changed, aka has never repented, has never been sanctified, has never grown, has never thought, has never improved, has never developed, and tell me again why that's a brag. So yes, I have changed on many things. This one, I haven't. I answered it years ago, and I'm going to give the same answer now because I think it's right. One way to honor someone who by position mandates honor, you're commanded. And a father-in-law is in that position, like I talked earlier. So the position, regardless of his person, his position mandates honor. So you must show it. So how do you honor a man who is in a position of honor, but in his person is dishonorable? How do you honor them? I think the way that you honor them is by covering the things that are not honorable. So I think of the 2 sons, not the third, the bad one, but the 2 sons of Noah. How do you honor your father when he's laying naked, drunk in a tent?
Not a good look.
Right? Well, that particular moment is not an honorable moment. Right? So you don't flatter because that requires deceit, lying, which is a sin. So you don't go in and you say, like the emperor has no clothes. Dad, you must have invisible thread to make this new outfit, and it's gorgeous and lovely, and oh my good. Like, no, that's a lie. So how do you honor dad if in his person he's dishonorable, or in that particular moment or season or whatever he's become dishonorable, or committed a particular action or said a particular thing that is dishonorable? The way you do it is like the 2 sons of Noah. They don't. The way they honor their dishonorable father. But they know by virtue of his position, he mandates honor. By virtue of that recent action, there's no honor that can be given. So what do? They cover his shame. They cover his shame. They don't flatter it. They don't lie about it. They don't try to pivot or tweak or twist. They don't rebrand. They don't try to put a positive spin. What they do is they conceal. They cover. And I think that's what you can do. If you have a parent or a parent-in-law, somebody like that in your life who by virtue of their position mandates honor, but is behaving dishonorably, what you can do is not lie and say, well, my father or my mother-in-law or my so-and-so, such and such is just so amazing and so incredible. Sometimes objectively, they're just not. They're not amazing. They're not incredible. But if that be the case, what you can do is you can cover it. You can just cover it. And I think I think of our local church. I think there are a lot of men in our local church, and the women for that matter, but especially the men, because I spend more time with them, obviously. All the time, man, when we're talking and one of our fathers comes up in the discussion, or one of our fathers is in town around the holidays visiting or something like that, it's just, you can just see like that son, whether he's talking about his dad or introducing his dad to, a men's hangout, guys night or something like that, because he's in town for the weekend. It's just that guy, that grown adult son who's a member in our church is just bending over backwards to honor his dad. And the reality, and I know, not because later on behind their father's back, they whisper, say this, say that. No, they never do. They cover him. They cover him, not just when he's there, not just when he comes up in conversation, but all the time. But I know in many cases, it's like, yeah, that guy's dad is a raging Zionist, or that guy's dad is like the most normie dispensationalist you could possibly imagine. Like that guy's dad, when he thinks of a far right ultra conservative, he thinks of Steve Dace, like that guy, but here's the deal. His son, you'll never hear the words out of his mouth. Hey, my dad, I remember when I was a kid, he did X, Y, and Z. My dad is a rock star. Or, hey, my dad's in town and we're doing cigars and here he is. Want you guys to meet him, and just nothing but positive things to say. So I think, that's how you do it. How do you honor a dishonorable person who by virtue of their position mandates honor? Well, sometimes there's not a whole lot of positive things to highlight. So then what you can do is have negative things that you conceal. And that's the show for today.
Well said.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time, broadcasting live simultaneously on YouTube and X. Here at the very end, do us a huge favor. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on X, click the bell on both platforms, and lastly, before we end the stream, share it. Please do us a huge favor. One of the best things that you can do to get these out to as many people as possible is simply retweet if you're watching on X, or simply share the video if you're watching on YouTube. It helps us tremendously. We appreciate all the super chats, all the prayers, all the emails of encouragement, all the financial gifts and generosity. It means the world. It is Wednesday. Lord willing, we will see you again on Friday at 3 p.m. Central Time. God bless.